I don't know about you guys, but night riding is one of my favorite types of riding. There's just something about the adventure, something about, you know, getting out there at night, and for whatever reason, it feels like a different layer to the adventure. And I love the challenges that it provides. Like, there's sometimes things that pop out of nowhere and you're super glad that you're able to see them. There are other elements to it where you feel like you're a little bit more isolated. You feel a little bit more, I don't know, like maybe it's a little bit more remote. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's just one of my favorite things to do. I'm not gonna lie, one of my favorite enhancements that I've made in the machine is all of the Diode Dynamics goodness. I mean, seriously, like, look at all that. I have way too many, no, you know what? No, I'm not even gonna say I have way too many lights, because there's no such thing. And I also upgraded headlights, which is what we're talking about today. My name's Dave, thanks for checking out this video. If you have a Honda Talon and you're looking for a headlight upgrade and you wanna learn more about the Diode Dynamics LED headlight kit, the SS3s, then you came to the right spot. This is gonna be my review. We're gonna go over installation, how they work, is it worth it, pricing, availability, all that stuff. You can see my Honda Talon right there, and you've already seen some footage of me using these headlights. They have been bomb-proof. I also do want to disclose that I am a Diode Dynamics ambassador, which means I'm an affiliate partner. If you use my link or my code, I do get a small commission. However, Diode Dynamics is not paying me to make this review. I don't get paid from them except for affiliate commission, which I don't get even a ton of that because the channel is small. So everything that you're going to hear is my real world experience and use, and you're seeing real world use footage. And if you ever are in Minnesota and see me on a trail, let me know and you can check it out in person. Those of you guys that do know and are local and watch know that I use my stuff, and this is my real experience. And I am really impressed with the Diode Dynamic light. Everything that I've had from Diode Dynamics has been super awesome, which is why I am proud to be one of their ambassadors, just because I really do believe in the products. I don't like to promote and recommend stuff that I don't actually use and believe in, and that is especially true with my lights. I get it. It's expensive, and it's a safety issue, right? You want good, reliable lighting that you're gonna be able to see, that doesn't overheat, that holds up, that is worth the investment. And I truly believe that the diode stuff is all of that. I'm really, yeah, I know I sound like a cheerleader for them. So this kit that I got is the SS3 LED headlight kit, and I got the Pro kit. It's available in a Sport kit and a Pro kit. The Pro has more power. The pricing difference, the 3-inch Sport kit is $719 and the Pro is $959. And I will be upfront with you, just get the Pro kit. Like, seriously, $720 versus $960. Just save up a little bit longer, skip a dinner date or two, and get the Pro kit. When I unboxed it, I found all of the parts. Obviously, it comes with all 4 pods. So you have your low beams and your high beams. And what's cool is that the low beams are a combo and the high beams are a driving pattern. So the driving have a little bit more of a projection, whereas the combo is just that, it's a combo. The brackets, these things are beefy. I mean, seriously, the brackets to mount the unit in place, they were thicker material than like some of the suspension mounting locations on the Talon. Like, comparing the thickness to the bracket to the other sheet metal that's on the machine, they are beefy. Like, they legitimately are beefy. I love it. I absolutely love that. And then wiring harnesses, it comes with basically everything to be plug and play. You're gonna disassemble, which we'll get to that, and replace it with the wiring harness. Now, the other cool part about this is that it uses the backlight function. So part of the wiring harness, when you have either it tripped on your key on, which is how they recommend to do it, I decided to wire in my backlight on my Switch Pro, so when I have all my other kind of accent lights on, the backlight comes in, but it's easily to, you know, hook up to the blue OEM plug. When the machine turns on, the amber backlight is there, kind of has this really cool look. And then when you have your low beams on, the high beam backlight is still there, and then the high beams, it would just be white. And the Diode Dynamics stuff is smart enough to know that when you send the main signal, it turns that backlight off, so you don't have to worry about that little LED burning out or overheating or whatever. And then, of course, it comes with all of the hardware that you're gonna need. Now, installation, it's gonna take some time, dudes. I'm just gonna start with that. Maybe you want me to start with performance, is it worth it or whatever, but in my mind, it kind of just makes sense to start with the installation. It took some time because obviously you have to remove the hood and the front fender to get to everything, but they actually have a really great video. I have a computer here in the shop, and basically what I did is I'd hit play, pause, and I would work on my machine and do all the components. You have to Like I said, remove some plastic, which meant for me also removing the roof and the windshield to get to everything. And I kind of double dipped the project. I had a couple of other little accessories and things that I wanted to install at the same time. So I figured while I had it apart, I'm just going to kind of tidy up some things, run those other accessories, whatever. So if you have that, I would highly suggest like just doing it all at once, right? If I would have had this in the beginning, I would have incorporated it into the build. Anyways, we take it apart. We put in the brackets. Everything mounts up really nice. Then we mount the pods. Then we run the wiring and the wiring harness. Installation was really straightforward. I mean that. I'm a mechanical person. I'm kind of curious on that, but I didn't run into any issues that would make, I feel like the average person have difficulty. If you have hand tools and a basic aptitude to follow the mechanical directions and can use those hand tools, I don't think you're gonna have any issues at all. You don't need to pay a shop to do this. However, if you don't feel comfortable, you could probably pay a shop, but they're gonna charge you money for something that I really think you could do yourself. Now, the only thing that I ran into with the included hardware is I wish they would upgrade to stainless. I upgraded to stainless because some of the OEM hardware did start to rust. So my one criticism with the hardware, I go through water, I ride in the snow, I ride whatever. It's exposed to the elements, right? And some of the hardware did rust, so that's the one thing I would say. And I will leave a part number in my description below and on the article of the screws that I replaced with, but I just decided to replace those exposed screws with stainless, and it worked out really good. So that's like my only criticism, okay? So no big deal there. Now, one thing I forgot to talk about in the installation segment is because they are modular pods, you can adjust each pod left, right, up, and down to align it to your riding style. That's another really cool feature. As far as how they've held up, these things have been rock solid. Been through the rain, been through summer, you know, pretty much been using them all summer. I got these, I want to say, in May, and I've been using them all riding season. So I want to say I have a solid close to 2,000 miles with the headlights. I pretty much use those headlights all the time. In my state, we're required to have headlights on, whether we're on the trails, roads, whatever. So I just turn the headlights on. Every now and again, if it's really dusty, I would use the backlight, and then I would use my yellow pillar lights as my headlights. But pretty much have those headlights on all the time, and they work awesome. So the big question is, how bright are they? Are they brighter than the factory lights? And yes, like without a doubt, they are brighter. So when I first got them installed, I went on this route. It's a ditch trail, and I recorded some footage like 2 or 3 days before I installed it with the OEM lights, and then I recorded it with the new headlights. And in my eye, I can see a difference. However, I just had a GoPro hooked up, and the action cam didn't quite have as much dynamic range. Like, it's not as dramatic when I was watching the video. But either way, you're watching the video right now comparing the factory to the headlights, and there is a difference. You can see that, right? It's literally kind of side by side as I'm going through the same trail, similar lighting conditions. But the real difference came when we actually got another machine. Got to give a huge shout out to Josh. He met up with me at a local trail system. He has a stock Talon with the stock LED lights, and we were able to do a side-by-side comparison. Oh my gosh, side-by-side comparison. That's a pun. I didn't even mean to do that pun, but we did a side-by-side. I did it again. We did a comparison between the factory and the Diode Dynamic ones, where we were riding literally the same trails. And we were able to get some drone footage, we were able to get some comparison footage, and the difference is noticeable. And even Trevor, who was running the camera, we were talking on the Cardo headsets, he could tell the difference even as we were coming through the woods. He's like, oh, I know who's leading, because it was a noticeable difference. And we sat in each other's machines and kind of checked stuff out, and we both agreed this is a worthwhile upgrade as far as visibility, not just brightness, but also coverage, because that's a big part of it. And my favorite shot is this one that I'm showing you right now. This is a drone comparison of the pros versus the stock lights, and you can see how much more coverage you're getting. If you are in a wide open area, this is a benefit. If you're in a trail, you get more coverage, a ditch, whatever. This was really telling, and this made it worth it. This is an accessory that you're going to use every time you ride, and if you night ride, it's a really, really worthwhile accessory. If you day ride and you're just looking for a brighter visibility, well then I think still the pillar lights with the ambers are probably my favorite as far as visibility, dust, snow, whatever. So those would be a really good upgrade to look at versus maybe the headlight kit. But if you night ride, or maybe just even somewhat night ride where you don't want to make the investment of a full link light bar, then the headlights make a great sense, because now you're getting, in essence, a light bar that's replacing your headlights. The low beam coverage was great. The high beam coverage is a little more narrow. And one thing I did notice with the Honda factory wiring harness is that when you turn the high beam on and all 4 pods are illuminated, the voltage to the low pods does drop just a little bit. So I did notice the low was like this bright, and then you'd add the high beams and the low would just dim a little bit. Man, this looks weird. I'm watching myself do this on my camera and it looks weird. I feel like I probably shouldn't do that anymore, but I did notice that when you have the high beams on. So there is that. Now, when I'm really cruising, I use the light bar, and I'm not gonna lie, like that SS3 link light bar with the 3 pods, that thing is super bright. Plus I have some ditch lights, some SSC2s as my ditch light. The coverage is, it's brighter. I mean, I can't lie. You're seeing the footage here because I also took some drone footage of the light bar comparing. And obviously, if you're looking to go fast and looking for the best low light, then a light bar, more light the better, right? More light the better. But even without that, headlights compared, this is a great upgrade. Now, let's just be honest. We're talking, it's $1,000, okay? $960 plus tax, shipping, your time to install it. You're over $1,000. I don't know how much your time is worth, but that's a big upgrade. I get it. Would I do it? Yep, I would, especially right away. Like if I could have gotten this accessory right away when I was building the machine, these are things that I'm gonna use every time I ride. Other accessories I don't use every time I ride. Like the Cardos, I use those every time I ride. So I love my Cardo headsets. And then these headlights, I use every time I ride. And then some of my other Diode Dynamic lights, particularly my amber chase lights and my amber pillar lights, I use pretty much every time I ride. The rock lights, I use a lot, and some of the other lights, and then, you know, some of the other stuff like the locking sway bar and all the other things. You know, you have to decide if those things are worth it or where you want to prioritize your money. By the way, if you haven't seen my full build video, stick around till the end. I'll have a link to that, and I'll also have a link in the description so you can kind of see that. And I'll probably do an updated 2026 build video because I do have a few accessories I'm planning on installing over the winter. So if you like the content, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more Honda Talon stuff. So I would really appreciate that anyway. Back to the headlights. Like I was talking about earlier, real world use, 4 solid months of trails, rain, solid use, almost 2,000 miles. We also took it with on our trip, and a lot of the guys even on the trip noticed on the night ride, like, Dave, lights, those are pretty bright. And they really are. They punch really nicely. Even as a daytime running light, they are really nice lights. They're bright white. It's a 6,000 Kelvin, so it's a nice white color. You could, even if you wanted to, swap to amber lenses as well, so that's an option. Right now, the kit is basically the 2 white pods, but you could order amber lenses. So maybe you do a lot of desert cruising or dust cruising, whatever, and you want to have ambers on your high beam and whites on the low, or vice versa, or all amber. You could easily do that. I know there's a lot of like desert pre-runner guys. They really like those yellow amber lights, and you could easily swap these lenses. That's the cool part about the pods. They're very modular. If you wanted to, you know, swap beam patterns, you could. I actually think the combo low and the driving high works really good. I was even thinking initially, like, what if we did a spot high beam? But I tried a spot on my light bar and it's really, really tight. So unless you have a unique use requirement where you need a super tight pattern, I think the driving beam pattern for the high beam actually worked out really good to give you a little extra throw. And you can see it on the trail. It kind of goes from more of a wide combo to kind of more of a narrow throw with then a little bit of spill from the low beam. So I thought the beam selection was actually really good. I haven't had any issues with the wiring harness. All the Deutsch plugs, everything is super high quality. Again, installation was straightforward. You guys saw some footage of that. So I don't really have a whole lot to say negative about this kit, other than you have to think about if it's worth the price. Like $1,000 for headlights, and even if you got the sport kit, you're talking $720 plus tax, etc. I get it. It's an investment, but I really like it. Not gonna lie. If you guys have any questions about this or my Honda Talon or ATV, UTV stuff in general, I would highly recommend you leave a comment. I love interacting. I love hearing from you guys. So I love answering questions, and maybe we can make a future video on it, and we'll just kind of go from there. I really appreciate you guys watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you like the content, also check out these other videos that number one, YouTube thinks you would like, and then the other is about my Honda Talon build. Again, I really enjoyed putting this machine together. I really enjoy using it on the trails, and maybe this gives you some ideas for your build as well. Have a great day.